Good evening, my friends. It is almost 7. We're a little early, 6:57 Eastern Standard Time here in Cleveland. Hope you're having a great day today. We are going to be going into the science of getting rich. And my friends, it's deep, it's incredible, and it is available to you at all times, this ability. This book, that's how we're going to do it. We're going to break it up. I'm going to read a little bit of the book. Then I'm going to give you my notes and my thoughts. And we'll just do that in, I don't know how many videos we'll end up doing, maybe 6 or so. But that way each video won't be very long, but you'll get all of the information. It really is something else. You know, I've been really lucky. I spent 30 years all over the world earning my living as a speaker, teaching people about the mind. And to tell you the truth, I thought I knew it all. Back then, I was obsessed with earning money, and no matter how much I made, it wasn't enough. So, I went all over the world, and I worked with the most successful people, learned all about the mind. And, I've been hired to teach corporate CEOs and celebrities and athletes and that sort of thing. But I always tried to go beyond, no matter what I was doing, beyond entertainment. I wanted to challenge them. I wanted to challenge the minds of the audience. And it always seemed to work. No matter where I went, I would always see people so curious, about the experiences and about what I was doing on stage. They wanted to know mostly how they could do these types of things and how they could use it in their everyday lives. Ordinary people are capable of extraordinary results. It's because we all possess near infinite capabilities that are far beyond what the senses can perceive and what the mind can understand, far beyond our wildest imagination. Now, my intention with this video series is to provide you a context so you can begin to experience greater abundance in your life than you ever thought possible. There really is no reason to live an ordinary life once you wake up to the fact that you have extraordinary capabilities. Nothing is beyond our ability. Nothing is impossible. As you watch and listen to these videos, you'll start to be awed by your own mind because you'll be given the key to unlock the power that you have inside. And the person that holds that key is you. You've had it all along. You're going to discover how to get what you want in ways that you never experienced before. Now, I'll tell you, I know some people, me included years ago, would approach this type of material with skepticism. To show me how it's done. Show me how this can be. That's okay, because I was like that. But I believe the cynical, this just can't be, can separate you from your natural mental gifts. Best results happen when you're open to greater possibilities, when you open yourself to higher and more powerful possibilities. Dr. Wayne Dyer had that great line, you'll see it when you believe it. We all think that we're going to, I'll believe it when I see it. It's the other way. Einstein said imagination is everything. It's more important than knowledge. So all you've got to do is give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to open yourself to the possibilities that enable you to achieve far greater things than you ever thought possible. Set your imagination free. Set yourself free. And that mind will start to soar. So we're going to take this journey together. Like I said, we're going to read a little of the book in each video. It's not very long. This book is amazing. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. So we'll get into that. But I want to tell you how I started down this road to this type of thinking. Because years ago, I would have been the most skeptical person around, being an entertainer, knowing about the mind, teaching other people about the mind. I thought I knew everything. And that was always been one of my biggest problems, thinking that I didn't need to know anything else because I already knew it all. And I was just learning 10, 11 years ago, just learning to meditate. And I was obsessed with it, but I just felt like I was doing something wrong. I used to do a lot of cruises back then, world cruises. They would fly me in and I would perform, for the VIP passengers. And they flew me to Iceland, Crystal Cruises to Iceland, to Monaco, to all over, to Japan, China. Well, once when I was in China and I had a couple of weeks off, I decided I was going to go visit Tibet because I always wanted to go. It's supposed to be unbelievably spiritual. Find yourself, you'll become enlightened. So I decided I was going to go there and I was going to learn how to meditate and see what I was doing wrong and see how I could better my meditation practice. So I went to a place called the Jogging Temple in Tibet, and it changed my life. And it changed my life not because at first I was meditating for hours a day. That isn't what did it, because I found out later I was doing too much. That wasn't what it was. But the weekend that I was there, 3 or 4 days after I arrived that weekend, a monk came who was from a different monastery and was doing a talk there. And the other monks told him what I did for a living. And I told him, I work with the mind and I do big shows and of course, bragging and boasting like we all do. And he said, think of any word in the English language. And I did. And before I could say anything, he said lumberjack. And that was the word I was thinking of. And I was blown away. Now, he was doing for real what all those years I was doing, with tricks. And I was trying to, I was doing magic and of the mind. But as I got more and more into learning about the mind, I realized what we could do is the most incredible thing. Tricks are nothing. What he did changed everything because he told me we're all connected. The universe is a web of energy. We're all connected. Reading thoughts or telling what someone else is thinking is not at all impossible because we're all connected in this web of energy. And it changed everything for me. It changed my meditation practice. It changed the way I worked on stage. It changed the way I wanted to teach people. It just changed everything for me. And it opened up an entire new area of thinking. I read The Secret years ago, and I thought, oh, this is BS. And then 2 or 3 years later, I was in Tibet, and I saw things for myself and the amazing ability of the mind, even more incredible than I ever thought. And here I am teaching this for 20 years, now 30. So it changed my life. And I can tell you, if you have an open mind and you will just keep it open a little bit, you will start to understand there is way more out there than we realize. So let's get into the very first video here for the science of getting rich. Now, this book was written decades ago. I think 100 years ago. What's incredible about it is almost every personal development course that talks about the law of attraction, about abundance, anything is sprung from this, The Secret included. This is actually the real secret behind the secret. So let's get into it. It's the science of getting rich, part 1. Now, again, since it was written a while ago, I'm going to try to clean up the grammar a little bit for you. And again, I'll jump in with notes and things if I think I can add something. All right. This book is pragmatical, not philosophical. A practical manual. It's not theories. It's intended for anyone whose most pressing need is for abundance. And those people who want the abundance first and then to philosophize after. It's for those who have so far found neither the time, the means, nor the opportunity to go deeply into the study of metaphysics, but who wants results and who is willing to take the conclusions of science as a basis for action without going into all the processes by which those conclusions were reached. Now, it's expected that the reader will take the fundamental statements upon faith, just as they would take statements concerning any law of electrical action, And taking the statements upon faith, he will prove their truth by acting upon them without fear. So this is it. Number 1, chapter 1 is called The Right to be Rich. Whatever can be said in the praise of poverty, the fact remains that it's not possible to live a really complete or successful life unless one has money. No man can rise to his greatest possible height in talent or soul development unless he has plenty of money. For to unfold the soul and to develop talent, he must have many things to use. And he can't have these things unless he has the money to buy them. A man develops in mind, in soul, and in body by making use of things. And society is so organized that man must have money in order to become the possessor of things. Therefore, the basis of all advancement for man must be the science of wealth. The object of all life is development, and everything that lives has an inalienable right to all the development it is capable of attaining. Man's right to life means his right to have the free and unrestricted use of all the things which may be necessary to his fullest mental, spiritual, and physical unfoldment. In other words, you have the right to be wealthy. In this video series from the book, we're not going to talk about riches in a figurative way. To be really rich does not mean to be satisfied or contented with little. No man should be satisfied with little if he's capable of using and enjoying more. The purpose of nature is the advancement and unfoldment of life. And every man should have all that can contribute to the power, the elegance, the beauty, and the richness of life. To be content with less is sinful. The man who owns all he wants for the living of all the life he is capable of living is wealthy. And no man who has not plenty of money can have all he wants. Life has advanced so far and become so complex that even the most ordinary man or woman requires a great amount of wealth in order to live in a manner that even approaches completeness. Every person naturally wants to become all that they're capable of becoming. This desire to realize innate possibilities is inherent in human nature. We can't help wanting to be all that we can be. Success in life is becoming what you want to be. You can become what you want to be only by making use of things. And you can have the free use of things only as you become rich enough to buy them. To understand the science of getting rich is therefore the most essential of all knowledge. There is nothing wrong in wanting wealth. The desire for riches is really the desire for a richer, fuller, and more abundant life. And that desire is praiseworthy. The man who doesn't desire to live more abundantly is not normal. And so the man who does not desire to have money enough to buy what he wants, what he needs to take care of his family, it's abnormal. There are 3 motives for which we live. We live for the body, we live for the mind, and we live for the soul. No one of these is better or holier than the other. All are alike desirable. And no one of the 3, mind, body, or soul, can live fully if either of the others is cut out of their life. It's not right or noble to live only for the soul and deny mind or body. And it's wrong to live for the intellect and deny your body or soul. We're all acquainted with these loathsome consequences of living for the body and denying both mind and soul. And we see that real life means the complete expression of all that man can give forth through body, mind, and soul. Whatever he can say, no man can be really, whatever he can say, no man can be really happy or satisfied unless his body is living fully in every function, and unless the same is true of his mind and his soul. Wherever there is unexpressed possibility or function not performed, there is unsatisfied desire. Desire is possibly seeking expression. Desire is possibility, seeking expression. I love that. Desire is possibility, seeking expression, or function, seeking performance. Man cannot live fully in body without good food, without comfortable clothing, warm shelter, and without freedom from excessive work. Rest and recreation are also necessary to his physical life. He can't live fully in mind without books and time to study them, without opportunity for travel and observation, or without intellectual companionship. To live fully in mind, he must have intellectual recreations, and it must surround himself with all the objects of art and beauty he is capable of using and appreciating. To live fully in soul, man must have love, and love is denied expression by poverty. A man's highest happiness is found in the benefits of those he loves. Love finds its most natural and spontaneous expression in giving. The man who has nothing to give cannot fill his place as a husband or a father or as a citizen or a man. It is in use of material things that we find full life. For the body develops the mind, unfolds the soul. It is therefore of supreme importance that he should be wealthy. It is perfectly right that you should desire to be rich. If you are a normal man or woman, you cannot help doing so. It is perfectly right that you should give your best attention to the science of getting rich, for it is the noblest and the most necessary of all studies. If you neglect this study, you are in derelict to your duty, to yourself, to God, the universe, to humanity. For you can render no greater service than to make the most of yourself. And that's the truth. Everybody wants to change everyone else. If we would just better ourselves, the world would be an unbelievable place. We would end these problems so fast. There's a science behind this. There's a science to getting wealthy. And I'll tell you, it's an exact science, like algebra or arithmetic. There are certain laws that govern the process of acquiring riches. One of these laws, we'll go into in a minute, actually. But I'll tell you, if you start to follow these, you start to learn them, you start to obey them, it happens with mathematical certainty. The ownership of money and property comes as a result of doing things in a certain way. Those who do things in this certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, get rich. While those who don't do things in this way, no matter how hard they work or how able they are, remain poor. Mindset is everything. If you have a mindset of lack, that is what you're going to have in your life. You're going to be buried in it. If you have a mindset of abundance, that is what you're going to have in life. Mindset is really everything, because with that shift of mindset, you can transform your life. Now, this law is a natural law. It's cause producing effect. Therefore, anyone who does things in this certain way that he's going to lay out here, I'm going to lay out for you, will infallibly make money, will get rich, will have wealth and abundance, whatever that means to you. Abundance in every area of your life. Getting rich is not a matter of environment, because if it was, all the people in certain neighborhoods would become wealthy. The people of one city would all be rich, while people of other towns, everyone would be poor. Or the inhabitants of one state would roll in gold, and the people in the adjoining state would be in poverty. But everywhere we see rich and poor living side by side in the same environment and often engaged in the same vocations. When two men are in the same locality and in the same business, and one gets rich while the other remains poor, it shows that getting rich is not primarily a matter of environment. Some environments may be more favorable than others, but when two men in the same business, in the same neighborhood, when one of those men gets rich while the other fails, it indicates that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. And further, the ability to do things in this certain way is not due solely to the possession of talent. For there are a lot of people who have great talent that remain broke, while others who have very little talent get rich. Studying the people who've gotten rich, we can see that they're average in a lot of respects. They have no greater talents. They have no greater abilities than you. It's evident that they don't get wealthy because they possess talents and abilities above everyone else, that other people don't, but it's because they do things in a certain way. Getting rich is not the result of saving. It's not the result of thrift. Many people who pinch pennies are broke, and free spenders get rich. It's getting rich. It's not due to things which other fail to do, right? Two guys in the same business often do almost exactly the same things. One gets rich, other goes bankrupt. From all these things, we must come to the conclusion that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. This certain way, in a certain way, in a certain way is all through this book for a reason. Okay. And again, as I'm going through it, I'm trying to change the language a little bit to modernize it, but it's basically, I don't want to take out anything. Really, I'm just changing a few words here and there just because of the age of this, but you need the information and you need it exactly like it's here. So I'm going to, it keeps saying in a certain way, which is important. If getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way, and if like causes always produce like effects, then any man, any woman who can do the things in that way, in that order, can become rich. And the whole matter is brought within the domain of science. In fact, exact science. The question arises here, whether this certain way may not be so difficult that only a few can follow it. Well, this can't be true because we've seen it. So far as natural ability is concerned, talented people get rich, blockheads get rich, intellectually brilliant people get rich, very stupid people get rich, physically strong get rich, weak get rich. Some degree of ability to think and understand is essential, of course. But insofar natural ability is concerned, anybody who has sense enough to read and understand can get rich. Also, we have seen that it's not a matter of environment. Location counts for something. One would not go to the heart of the Sahara Desert and expect to do successful business. But getting rich involves the necessity of dealing with people and of being where there are people to deal with. And if these people are inclined to deal in the way you want to deal, so much the better. But that is about as far as environment goes. If anybody else in your town can get rich, so can you. And if anybody else in your state can get rich, so can you. And if anyone in this world can get rich, you can too. Because again, it's not a matter of choosing some particular business or particular profession. People get rich in every business. They get rich in every profession, while their next door neighbors in the same vocation remain in poverty. It is true that you will do best in a business which you like and which makes you happy. And if you have certain talents which are well developed, you will do best in a business which calls for the exercise of those talents. You will also do best in a business which is suited to your locality. An ice cream parlor would do better in a warm climate than in, say, Greenland or something. Aside from these general limitations, getting rich is not dependent upon your engaging in some particular business, but upon your learning to do things in a certain way in your business. So if you now have a business and anyone else around you is getting rich in that same business and you're not, it's because you are not doing things the same way the other person is doing them. No one is prevented from getting rich by lack of capital. It's true, you get capital. As you get capital, the increase becomes more easy and more rapid. But anyone who has capital is already rich and doesn't need to consider how to become rich. No matter how poor you may be, if you begin to do things in a certain way, you will begin to get rich and you will begin to have capital. The getting of capital is a part of the process of getting rich, and it is part of the result, which invariably follows the doing of things in a certain way. You may be the poorest man in the world and be deeply in debt. You may have no friends, no influence, no resources, but if you begin to do things this way, you must infallibly begin to get wealthy. For like causes produce like effects. If you have no capital, you can get capital. If you're in the wrong business, you get into the right one. If you're in the wrong location, you go to the right one. And you can do so by beginning in your present business and in your present location to do things the certain way that causes success. What is that certain way? I can hear you thinking now. Well, you're going to find out. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back with part 2. And part 2 of the science of getting rich is where it really takes off. It's talking about the victim mindset, the fact that, we bitch and moan about everybody from our lives that held us back and kept us from what we wanted. No one is poor because any opportunity has been taken from them. It's not because somebody else has all the money. It's not because, somebody has done something that you can't do. Opportunity is not monopolized. There is enough for everyone. We have this mentality, us versus them. If I get it, you can't have it. We have to fight for it. It's not the truth. Opportunity is not monopolized. So tomorrow, we're going to go into that. I think we should be able to do this in maybe 6 or 7 videos. Each one will try to keep 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. So we're about 30 minutes, so it's perfect. So we'll be back tomorrow with, we'll talk about opportunity. I'm just reading a little far ahead because I want to make sure, tomorrow is where we start to find out what that certain way is. And it's so good. The law of wealth is the same for poor people as it is for rich people, as it is for everyone. But we have to learn that because otherwise we just remain stuck where we are. So opening up to this idea is everything. Awareness that there are a lot of things we don't know. The most important things in life, there are those things we know. There are those things that we know that we don't know. Like, I know that I don't know how to water ski, but I know that. But the most important things in this world, in this universe, are the things that we don't know that we don't know. Just by opening your mind, having faith, believing, not being cynical, not going to the negative immediately. The frequency, the energy changes. There's a shift that happens. It's all mindset. If there's one thing I could teach you in 30 years, if I had to break it down to one sentence, if I had a few words, it would be mindset is everything. A good mindset can take you to the heights of life. A bad mindset can have you kill yourself. So nobody has ever committed suicide without their mind telling them to. So those are two sides of the coin. Your mind can take you to dizzying heights. It can take you to the pit of despair. But we're used to acting like our mind is in charge and we are the slave and the mind is the master. But it's not true. We have that control. We just have to get it back. We just have to turn it back on. And that's what we're going to do here. Okay. So tomorrow we're back with the next episode of The Science of Getting Rich. That's tomorrow night at 7. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 in the morning for a new edition of Brent Live. We've got some great stuff for you there. And if you haven't joined our Facebook community, you got to do that. It is the hub. It's the center of our organization, of our family. It's where everything happens. Like-minded people, we're banded together. We're learning to empower ourselves and each other. Changing ourselves changes the world. I mean, we start changing ourselves. People near us and close to us are inspired. They start to change. It's a fantastic process. It can go all over the world. We'd love to have you. Facebook.com/groups/students of self-empowerment. Facebook.com/groups/students of self-empowerment. Thanks for joining me today. Be back tomorrow with part 2 of The Science of Getting Rich. So remember, don't worry, be happy, and feel good. I'll see you tomorrow.